Hello once again, my yoga friends. If you've never been to my channel, my name's Yelena, and today we're gonna be doing a crow pose tutorial. So all about learning this intermediate arm balance. And if you enjoy these types of videos where we do yoga flows, different yoga tips and tricks, as well as healthy lifestyle videos and athletic wear hauls, make sure you hit that subscribe button below with the little bell icon next to it to make sure that you're notified of all the videos that I upload weekly. But enough of that, let's go ahead. Let's learn crow pose. All right, so before we begin today, I just want to give you 3 little pointers of advice for starting to learn what's known as Bakasana or crow pose. And I also want to kind of clear up a little bit of confusion. A lot of people do confuse Bakasana, which is actually crane pose, and that's when the arms are completely straight. It takes a little bit more strength and flexibility, and it makes the posture just a little bit more advanced. So crow pose is actually known in Sanskrit as Bakasana, and that is what we're gonna be learning today. And that is the version with the bent elbows. So Bakasana is actually something that we can work up to, and I'll make a video on that later. But for the 3 tips, number 1, we wanna start with building our confidence. Being able to sit here and tell ourselves, I've got this, I can do this. If I don't do this the first try around, that's completely fine, but I've got this. It's important to have confidence when going into some type of posture that might seem a little bit daunting at first, whether it be an arm balance or an inversion, but I promise you, you've got this. Say it again, you got this. Number 2 is not being too afraid to fall. Let's be honest, I have fallen on my face a number of different times when I was learning how to first do this posture. So it is inevitable. You may fall a couple times, but if you're scared, I'm gonna give you a little tip a little bit later in the video of what you can do if you are fearful of falling on your face. But just remember one thing, guys. The floor is only a couple inches away. So if you do fall forward, don't try to flail the arms out to catch yourself. Just fall forward. And again, I'll show you something later. It's not gonna hurt your face. Maybe if you're on a hard floor or something like that, but I will show you a trick for that later. And finally, practice makes perfect. So with an arm balance like this, don't get frustrated if you don't get it right away. Practice, 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 and keep with it. But enough of that. I'm sure you guys are ready to get moving, so let's start. We're gonna begin in a yoga squat. Okay, so this is gonna be like this. Legs are wide, and I would recommend coming up on the toes. So once we get to this posture like this, we are going to bring the palms to heart center and use the elbows and the triceps, the back of the arms, to press into the inner edges of the knees, inside of the thighs. And we wanna really use them to press out. Now we're gonna practice what we're gonna do with our core here as well. So you wanna tighten that lower belly so that it sucks up and in, and that belly button feels as if it's being pulled back towards the spine. Core strength and activating the core, the center, is very important in this posture, as well as pulling those thighs and squeezing them in towards each other. And then bring the palms out like this. We're gonna spread the fingertips out and then place them down. We wanna place them down shoulder distance apart, but I'm going to show you one thing that is the wrong version of the palms being on the floor. We don't wanna put them right here directly underneath the shoulders. That's gonna set us up 100% to fall. We wanna bring them out and shoulder distance apart so that they're slightly in front of us, but we're still having the hands or the arms inside of the inner thigh here. Now what you wanna do with your gaze, you don't wanna look completely down and you don't wanna look completely up. You wanna keep the gaze slightly forward and down, and that is very important. So there's a couple key things that you wanna remember here. Tightening the core, pulling that belly button back and up towards the spine, keeping your gaze slightly forward and down, and making sure that the palms are spread out wide and placed down out in front of you, shoulder distance apart. So let's go ahead and try. Coming up on the toes, we wanna make sure that the knees are nice and high up on the triceps, and then just begin to roll forward, coming up on the tiptoes, and squeezing the knees and the thighs together. We can lift one foot up, balancing here just for a moment, tighten that lower belly, and bring the other foot up as well. Taking a couple breaths here. Then we can bring one foot down at a time and drop it back down. So that is crow pose. Now, I wanna give you a couple different variation, guys. So if you have a block or something similar to this, and for instance, you're not able to get your knees up as high as I was, this is gonna help a lot, okay? So all you need to do is place the block right here on your mat, and you can either start with 1 or 2 feet on the block. Just for the sake of the tutorial, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what it's like with 2 feet. So we'll go ahead and step onto the block, make sure that you're nice and even and stable. And then we're gonna go ahead and plant those palms out in front of us, okay? Come up onto the tiptoes on the block, and that's gonna help elevate the legs so that the knees can get up a lot higher on the back of the triceps, okay? Then we're gonna slightly roll forward, squeeze the knees and the thighs together. One foot lifts, and then the other. And there you have it. Good, so that is just a little trick. And then finally, if you are fearful of falling forward and you want a little bit of added extra support just to start off, we can place either a pillow or the block right in front of where your forehead would be. So you can kind of measure a little bit. I would keep it up like this. Go ahead, sit down into your yoga squat. Place the palms out in front of you, spread them out, begin to roll forward. And as you can see, if I were to fall forward, my head is going to hit the block like this. And you can even practice like this. And then once you get the hang of it, you can not just bring one foot up at a time and then the other, you can bring both feet up at the same time. So without any props or anything like that, you just roll right into it. There you go. So that is our tutorial. Now I hope that I gave you some great tips and tricks for doing crow pose Bakasana. Just make sure, you guys, that you bend those elbows. Don't be afraid. A lot of times when people first start doing this posture, they want to keep the arms straight, but that is crane pose, and like I said, it takes a little bit more strength and flexibility. Don't be shy. Don't worry about bending the elbows. And if you have to bend them a little bit more to lower your center of gravity to start, that is completely acceptable as well. I promise you it will get prettier. It will get easier with practice. But if you benefited from this video, make sure to slap that like button below, as well as hit subscribe for weekly yoga flows, healthy lifestyle videos, and as always, leave me a comment, and namaste. Signing out, peace.